How's it going, YouTube? My name is LBNinja7, and if you have been playing World of Warcraft in the past week, ever since Augmentation Evoker was launched and live, you've probably come across the biggest topic in WoW today, and that is that Augmentation Evoker, although being a damage spec, its damage that it's bringing to the table is not showing up on damage meters. And you've probably seen some videos about it, like this one from Preheat, where he talks about the problem where if you look on damage meters, you'll see it's at the bottom, but if you look on logs, it's at the top. And then same with this Eisenhart video, no damage lol. This is a remark that he got from someone that does not understand the new spec, and that is a problem because people do not understand that their damage that they're adding to the group is not showing up on the meters properly. Well, there's also all of these memes about it as well. I'll let you guys pause it if you want to lose some brain cells about some of these messages, but these are all messages that Augmentation Evokers have been getting. Well, guys, I have been leveling my Augmentation Evoker and having a blast with it. And that is what today's story is going to be about. It actually happened to me. Someone just flipped their lid on me, had no idea what they were talking about. And I hope that you guys enjoy this video because it is shocking. And yeah, I think I played very well too. I was not logging. I did not know to log yet because I didn't think it would ever happen to me. But after this video, after this dungeon, I started logging all my dungeons. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So a really quick explanation for those of you who have not played Augmentation Evoker yet. It brings a lot of damage to your group that you aren't necessarily doing actively. So it does so by applying buffs to your other party members, including your DPS players. So your first buff that you apply is your most important one. It's Ebb and Might, and it applies a certain percentage of your main stat to your group's main stat. So you can see it makes your tanks tankier, your healers healier, and your damagier. You also have prescience, not really sure how to pronounce it, but that it gives your target 3% critical strike rate, so it can add good damage to a good player there. But then you also have your mastery, which adds versatility to a target whenever you use one of your empowered spells. So you can add a lot of stats to your group, and then all of those stats kind of multiply on top of each other, on top of their damage and buffs that they're already giving themselves. And then your Breath of Eons will accumulate a certain percentage of 15% of the damage that they do while you've have that applied, and then it will critically strike your targets or any targets hit by that Breath of Eons after 10 seconds with all that accumulated damage. So it can add up a lot of damage on yourself, but all those buffs will stack up and do a ton of damage to the group. So now let's get into the key. So we're going to start our adventure here right before the first boss. Now notice this is a Neltharian's Lair +9, and my objective in the key is to do as much damage as I can, sure, but we want to keep as much as we can 2 presciences out and our Ebb and Might up as much as possible. You'll see that we can extend that buff by doing our spinders and our eruptions and upheavals and things like that, but that is our goal, so we can keep the buffs up on our DPS, and we do a pretty good job of this. Like I said, I was not logging this unfortunately, but this is where our adventure begins. So we're coming up on this first boss, and you'll see we kill the boss very quickly. I believe it was about 45 seconds to kill the boss, and the boss only got 2 shatters off, so I'll call that a victory. That shatter didn't even do anything. So yeah, so we burn the boss down. I'm doing my rotation. I kind of forget I'm the only person that can lust here, so he does say lust, man. He's right. I forgot. So we lust, we pop all of our buffs, and we fly over, and you just start to see the boss absolutely melt. Look at those damage meters. Our other 2 DPS are popping off, doing so much single target damage. It's looking great. This has kind of been my experience so far with this class, is things just die really quickly, and the healing feels a lot smoother because, I mean, you are also kind of helping your healer out. You do have the option to give them prescience as well, and but your Ebb and Might does affect them. It's just really nice, but yeah, that boss dies so quick. So I go into chat and I type, "This spec is broken." You know, the spec is broken. You say that when things are good. This guy hits me back with, "Yeah, it's dumpster." So I'm thinking, okay, he either means one of 2 things. Yeah, it's like bad, it's dumpster, like it's horrible, or it's horrible how good it is. Like it's kind of like he's agreeing with me. It's broken. It's so stupid. It's dumpster. But I choose to ignore it regardless. I'm like, okay, maybe it's just memeing. I'm not too sure. So skip ahead a bit. This is where it starts to get rough. So I'm telling them I'm going to use my CDs on pool, and then out of nowhere, this guy hits me with, yeah, only a 3 to 4% increased damage with full ramp. That is just wrong. So wrong. And then he says I can only do it 3 minutes, every 3 minutes. Maybe he's talking about my Breath of Eons. But Breath of Eons does not give him any damage. It does not give him 3 to 4%. He's just wrong there. But then he says, shit, even with the best possible options, Warrior for armor and Paladin for crit, it feels like trash. He just, I don't know where he is getting these numbers from. He is just so wrong. But if you see here, you'll see the actual truth. We pop our cooldowns. We give them both the other DPS, prescience. Everyone has Ebb and Might. We do a great job of extending it, reapplying that prescience buff. We Breath of Eons on the boss, and this boss is absolutely getting melted. If you know anything about this boss, you know that it will have an intermission phase after a certain period of time, and it goes underground. You have to wait and just watch it do this thing for a long time, so it's really annoying to watch. But guys, we melt this boss so fast with, under his assumption, only 2 DPS basically, and we just destroy it before it even gets its intermission. So he drops the hottest takes I've ever seen. So of course we have to let him know. I say way more than a 3% increase buff. He says 1 to 2% of my damage was from your augmentation buffs. Where is he getting those numbers from? You guys saw it. We had at least 3% extra damage from our prescience on him. We had the increased main stat. He is obviously, very obviously, just looking at detailed meters. Which you guys can see here, he actually tells on himself, saying it's from the metrics and details, saying it's literally worthless. Now, from this point on in the video, I'm going to try not to cut anything out because I want you guys to see the full conversation. So you guys might just get a little bit of gameplay and a little bit of commentary here. But, there are just going to be some hot takes flying left and right. So I don't want you guys to miss them because they only get worse as the video goes on. So already he thinks that it's just a 2 or 3% damage increase, and he's getting that number from details. And I think what he means is it's all he can see on details. All that details is showing you is your uptime on buffs like prescience. So he can see my uptime on that buff, and he probably sees that it's only giving him 3% extra crit. But if he thinks that that is all that this spec is bringing to the table, why is it the most meta spec right now? Why is it brought in all the top keys? What is he thinking? Does he think it's literally only a 1 to 2%? I just don't know, one, where he's getting those numbers from and why he thinks they're correct, because there's no backing to it. But this is what the whole Evoker community is kind of memeing on right now, is people exactly like him. And like I said, you got some hot ones coming. This guy is just in his mind. I don't know what's going on. And now's a good time to mention the Paladin, so the DPS Paladin and the DPS Warrior. So my other 2 DPS players are queued together. And it is just shocking because they're both kind of in on it. They both think this way, and they're both probably in Discord talking. I don't know, maybe this is just speculation. It obviously is just speculation, but maybe I'm going a little too far. But obviously the Warrior probably shares that take too, if they're just cooking together. They're just in the kitchen cooking up the hottest takes. But right here, I have prescience up on both of them. I have Ebb and Might flowing. I'm keeping it all up. I'm doing everything I can. So just, these bosses are melting. Now, I am notably not lusting because I want to save lust for the last boss, because I figured this boss is fine. Personally, I prefer to have lust up on the last boss. But yeah, so I'm once again just keeping that rotation going. We almost lose the tank there, but he's chilling. The Warrior dies, but here we go. I hope you guys are ready because it only goes downhill from here. There's nowhere to go. So I say, once again, you can't tell. I can't tell if you're memeing, but my buffs don't show up on meters, on details. They don't. My buffs don't. You can't see that damage. The damage, if anything, it shows up as his damage because he is the one swinging the hammer, hitting the enemies, doing the damage. But if you log your dungeons, if you get the logs, it will add it to mine. I contributed this much of his damage, so it goes under my name. But then here comes a hot take. You can see Infernal for the big AoE scaler one and the up times for the crit and armor. One, I have no idea exactly what he means here. Honestly, truly, I wish I knew what he's talking about. But he's telling on himself that he's just reading what's in front of him. You can see the uptime on the buffs. But he's only talking about a 1 to 2%. If I had pressions up on him an entire fight, where did he get that? He said, plus have run 2 10s before this, and the damage is the same. So I'm guessing he didn't have an Augmentation Evoker. He did similar damage on plus 10s. One, what dungeon you're doing completely contributes to your overall DPS. Like, if you remember last season, the Guard Algathar Academy, you could do so much DPS there just because there's a ton of AoE. A dungeon like this one, you don't pull like 10, 20 ads all at once. Here we're just pulling like 3 ads at a time in this dungeon, so your damage is going to be lower overall. But then I said, I'm glad I'm recording this. Shout out to you guys right now. If you're watching this, thank you so much. I think this is great. I was living for this as it was happening, but I was kind of a little heated, I'm not going to lie. But he said, yep, needed to be, because AUG is trash. Unless you have exactly overlaps in 3 minutes. I think what he's trying to say is, unless you have, in his mind, he thinks there's like a 3-minute cooldown that all of my damage comes from. And he's saying, unless you have 2 classes, 2 other DPS, whose damage is specifically on 3-minute cooldowns, then the spec just does nothing. Dude, Ebon Might, it's on a 30-second cooldown. It is my most important ability, and I can keep it up. I can extend the buff to be up basically 100% of the time. Especially once I get my gear more in line, I could do that. But he says I can even share the last 2 runs in here damage when we're out. Details has all that shit. No, it doesn't. I don't know how many times I have to tell this guy details is not showing it. And hopefully you guys know that. And I'll actually show at the end of this, I will show the run that I did immediately after this run. I got my logs all set up so that I can actually record logs so that this situation can't happen again and I just let the guy get away with it. Because I'll be honest, at the end of this, I just did not have a log to send to this guy to show him that I was the majority of the damage. But it's ridiculous. But here we gotta wait just a second while the tank reloads because he's having some connection issues. It's probably just these hot takes are roasting his router, but oh my god, I don't know what to say to this guy. Or I don't know what to say to this guy, I should say. So I said, I don't just give you a 3% buff though. Like, that is literally just one of my buffs. I give you 14% of my intellect as your main stat. And then he said 0.9% from Inferno that time. Inferno, what? I don't know what he's talking about, but he's saying I just gave him 0.9% damage. Like, what? So then I'm telling him everything else. I make you do 20% more damage, give you a 20% verse buff for my mastery, and then I said, yes, dude. Like, I'm just like, I'm done at this point. I'm like, yes, dude. It doesn't show on details. But, so we come on to this last boss. Breath of Eons, apply prescience, and then I just start my rotation, apply Ebon Might, keep it flowing. Just keep using my spenders to keep Ebon Might on these guys. I mean, he has bonus, like, intellect. Honestly, I don't know what Red Paladins use, but he has bonus of his main stat, maybe strength. If I had to guess, it's strength. But he has bonus of whatever it is right now, of up to whatever my Ebon Might gives him. He's doing extra damage from prescience that my mastery's absolutely on him at this point. So I just don't know where he's getting all these numbers from. But guys, the hot takes, they've only just begun. Because once we finish this key, oh boy, does he have more time to type. Now, I do quickly want to say, if you like my UI, I made it all myself. My whole entire one of my big things is I love creating weak aura packages for my classes that I like to play. I created this weak aura package. I completely designed this whole UI, and if you guys want it, just let me know down below and I'll consider making a video on it. I don't know why I said consider. I will make a video on it, giving you guys this whole weak aura package, everything to download for completely free. I'm not one of those YouTubers that makes you have to subscribe to my Patreon. Already, this Tank Paladin is out. And then I send, because he knows what's coming, but I send, it shows up on logs, not details, ... Just, I'm waiting. I know this guy's about to say something. There will be some editing here that I'll have to do. The warrior, his friend, says ... because he's just like, he's on his side. In his mind, he's like, what? Like, he's never heard that before, so he's just like, I don't know what these guys, what echo chamber they're in, where they haven't heard any of this news. But his friend says ... and then he says Eben might buff times in here, impression. So they're looking at the buff up times on details. And then I said, have you guys not seen all the YouTube videos about it, like the ones that I showed you at the beginning of the video? And then I said it adds to your damage on details, meaning it adds to their overall damage, what they do. And then he said, tried playing with it for 2 hours, literally saw at most 2 to 3% increase in damage run to run. That has nothing to do with me. You suck at the spec then. I don't know if you just weren't pressing Eben might, because that alone will give at least 10% damage to your DPS. But the estimates of how much damage an Evoker, Augmentation Evoker is adding to keys right now is about 63% to overall damage. They add that to a group, so it's kind of busted right now just how strong they are. But this guy just, I guess he just doesn't understand it. But to skip ahead a bit, since there will be some dead space between like us typing, I'll kind of like edit that dead space out. But, oh man, the hot takes just keep coming. He said, that's literally a net nothing then. If you're no better than having a regular DPS, because the overall increase is 2 to 3%, then it's just another way to play the game. No, dude. I'm doing technically more damage than you, like more than a normal DPS. Looks like a net loss from these 2 runs. And looking at buff up times, he's so fixated on buff up times. But like in combat buff uptime, yeah, I didn't have prescience up on him 100% of the time in combat, because like if we're about to finish a pool, I'm not going to reapply it so that I can so that I can pre-apply it for the next pool. But then, so we do more DPS than 3 normal DPS would have. I'm just trying to help him wrap his mind around it. And then I said, notice that we beat every boss before they phased, LOL. He said, question mark? Like what? That's literally normal. I'm like, no, it's not. I can count the amount of times that I've beaten an Eltharian's Lair, like boss number 1 boss number 2 before he goes under on like one hand. I mean, especially because I'm used to pushing like a little higher keys than this, like a little bit, not too higher, but and then he said, my last run, he did 85k overall DPS, and then his friend did 67k. Run before that, 75k, and O-Stan was tanking. It's like, I don't care what you guys did in the dungeons before this. And then his friend, like, saluted. Like, he's just agreeing. I just... Oh, my God. It's just so cringe. And then you'll see here, he does ask for me to link logs. And like I said, I just don't have logs at this point in time. But as he was typing that, I was calling them literal clowns. But I also did try to link that one Eisen video. Because I was just like, look, you're not alone. Like, I get it. You just haven't learned yet how this spec works. But you're not alone. There are other people that think like you. And hopefully they've learned at this point too. And then, like I said, they just keep coming. So I tried to say, like, I buff your damage by around, like, 64%, because that's what the video says. That's what logs say. And then he said, yeah, like, he thinks it's a 10% damage increase for 10 seconds every 30 seconds, kept up 42% overall. So I don't know if he knows that you can extend the buff. I just don't get it. And then he said, 83% crit for only 26% uptime. This dungeon has so much downtime, like running between packs and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be closer to 26%. Also, I don't even think that number's right. I had it up on him a lot, like very constantly. And then I said, hey, look, it's not my job to teach you how the new spec works. Thank you for the content, though. Shout out to you guys for watching this content. Hopefully you like it. I said, read these abilities. I link them the abilities. And then that's basically it from there. That kind of ends the interaction. I'll kind of let you guys watch it play out while I do the outro. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. These guys were super cringe. I hope that they, since this time earlier today, I hope they've read these abilities and kind of know a bit more about the spec, have a little bit more exposure to it. But guys, have you encountered anything like this? Because it has been running rampant in the community. Something new to the game as a whole is a support class and how it works. And a lot of people just don't understand it, or haven't tried it, haven't read the abilities, don't know how it works, and only operate off of details meters. So hopefully you guys have not encountered someone like this. But guys, like I said, I'll have my logs from the dungeon immediately after this pulled up on screen. I wish I had this dungeon's logs. But if you enjoyed this content, if you like seeing like some drama like this, I am a sucker for some drama. If you know me, if you've hung out my streams, you probably hear me talking about drama all the time. I love it. I live for it. I feed off of it. Not really, but I do think that this is hilarious, and I just wanted to share with you guys. I'm so glad that I was recording. But if you guys want to support me and the channel, and you want to see more augmentation videos like this, then let me know, because I'm grinding it out. I love playing it. If you want to see more Mistweaver or healer content, make sure you guys hit subscribe. It's the best way to support me. I'm a small YouTuber. I'm trying to make my name known, and that's the best way to do it. It's free to do so. It's a click of a button. Helps me out a ton. If you want to like the video, like it. Let me know that you liked it. I would love that too. But also leave a comment down below if something like this has happened to you, what you guys think, how you would have handled this, because I know I probably would go back and change a little bit. I think he thinks I'm linking my video, by the way, but anyways, I don't know. These guys are just, I don't get what's going on. I have no idea. But guys, I appreciate you so much for watching and sticking around till the end of this video. It really helps me out when you watch the full video, because it just helps my numbers a whole lot. So I appreciate you for still being here. But like I said, let me know if you want me to make a video on this Augmentation UI. And there they go, off into the wind, never to be seen again. But because I will make a video outlining my UI and giving it to you guys for free. And thank you guys once again so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.